السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, we are continuing from where we stopped in the previous lesson. If you can remember, we were looking at the exercises, and then we got to exercise number 5. And so we will just be continuing mubasharatan from this particular place. So the exercise number 5, it starts by saying that تأمل المثال ثم صغ الأمر من الأفعال الآتية. They have given us an example, al-misal, here. Now you can see. They say that we should take note of it. Rather, we should notice how it is done. Then, صغ الأمر, we should conjugate, we should form the amr من الأفعال الآتية from the following verbs that you are seeing here. These verbs here, we are tasked to form their amr, their command form. So this is an example. The first one, let's look at it. Anta tajurru, that is you are dragging. Jarra yajurru, it means to drag or to pull something. So anta tajurru, you are dragging. And if you can remember, that is what we use to form the amr. We have to use the mukhatab, okay, for conjugating the amr. So if you take tajurru, if you open it up, it's like this. Tajurru, you can see tajurru, that's how it is. The shadda here, of course, we know it is 2 ras, one with sukun and then the other with dhamma. So tajurru is tajurru, like here. Now, how do you say we conjugate the amr? The amr, as we said the last time, first you have to remove the first letter, then the last letter, you give a sukun, then that'll be it. So if you do that, you are going to get something like this, as you are seeing here. This is what you are going to see. Jur. You see, they are going to now be 2 ras with sukun. And that is now iltiqa as-sakinain. And we said in mudha'af verbs, when that happens, you have to give the last letter fatha. And then it will be able to pronounce. You will now be able to pronounce it. So that will give you jurra. You see, jurra. I hope that is clear. Jurra. And so that is how the amr is formed for these classes of verbs. We have done them before, but we are just doing a brief recap. So let's conjugate these ones. To tamurru, the amr is going to be what? Of course, murra. Then tahujju, the amr is going to be what? Hujja. Oh, that is clear. Then tasubbu, the amr is going to be what? Subba. Then tashammu, the amr is going to be what? Shamma. Oh, that is clear. Then taruddu, the amr is going to be what? Rudda. Then tazunnu, the amr is going to be what? Zunna. Oh, that is clear. Then ta'uddu, the amr is going to be what? Udda. Then tamassu, the amr is going to be what? Massa. So that is how it is. Actually, it is not that it's not difficult at all. So let's move to the next one, exercise number 6. This says that Iqra ma yali. So actually it's not an exercise. They are going to teach us something new here. Iqra ma yali. We should read that which follows. Jurra hazal maktaba. So that we are now applying it. What we have learned, we are applying it here. So Jurra hazal maktab. So this is a command. We are commanding someone. Jurra hazal maktab. Mana, pull this maktab, this chair, or drag it. Oh, that is clear. This maktab, this table. You are telling someone, you are commanding someone to pull the table. So they say, Jurra hazal maktab, pull this table. Then, subbal kahwata, the duyuf. For the kahwa, the coffee. For the duyuf, the guest. So, subba, that is the amr, pour. Then, udda hazihil kutuba. Count these books. Shamma hazihil zahra. Smell this flower. So this flower here, zahratun, of course we know it's a flower. So shamma hazihi zahra. Smell this flower. I hope that is clear. Okay. Let's continue. We have here number 7. We have ta'ammal ma yali. We should take notice of that which follows again. Yahujju. Now we are going to learn lam. When we are using lam, when we are adding lam, what happens? All this one we have learned it in the. That's why it is very necessary that almost at the beginning of all the lesson we try to do some brief explanations, and all these ones we have already covered it. So we are now just doing recap. So yahujju is the actual verb, but if I add lam, of course we know what will happen. Of course, if you add lam is a harful jazm. when it comes the fi'l mudari, it become majzoom. Mainly majzoom biskun. Most of the time it will be majzoom biskun. Oh, that is clear. If it's just a singular fi'l mudari, okay, so للغائب. So if you know, of course, you know when we have yahujju like this, there's two jim. Oh, that is clear. Like this, there's two jim. Like this, there's two jim, one with school and then the other one with dhamma. So when you see add the lam, of course, the last one which is having the dhamma will now be school. Then there will be the itaqa as-sakina, and then you give it fatha. As we said, the last duplicate letter, you give it fatha, and that will be lam yahujja, as we are seeing here. Lam yahujja. Okay, so when lam comes, it's just simple. When a lam comes or anything that is majzoom harful jazm, the dhamma here that you are seeing at the end, it will turn to fatha. Even the command, the amr from that similar thing we are seeing. Hope that is clear. So that's just the changes that you should know. Yahujju, when lam come, you say lam yahujja. You turn the last dhamma to fatha. So that's what he's explaining here. Now tajurru, of course, you say then la. La here is la and nahiya. When you are prohibiting someone. Example, you say la tazhab, don't go. So you are prohibiting that la and nahiya. It is also a harf al-jazm. When it comes, the fi'l al-mudari is supposed to be majzoom. And so that's similar thing, of course. Majzoom be school most of the time if it is muhatab ghaib, singular person who is absent, if you are referring to him, or even if it is a muhatab standing in front of you and you are commanding him, that's similar thing. So you see la tajurra, so it is actually tajurru. You are referring to the muhatab, the one in front of you, you are speaking to him, and tajurru, you are dragging. But if I want to say la tajurru, I will say la tajurra. I will just turn the dhamma to fatha. We have explained why it is so, because this is a harf jazm. It comes mainly to, and at the end it will be majzoom bi school. It will give school to the last letter, and then there will be itiqa sakin, as you are seeing here, and that will lead it to have taken fatha. Okay, and we have here ajib an al-as'ilat al-atiya bin nafi musta'milan lam. We should answer the following questions. Bin nafi, bimana in negation. We should answer it in negative context. Musta'milan lam, using lam. So this is an example that they have given us here. Ahajajita, have you done hajj? Then you see la, lam ahujja. No, I've not done hajj. So what we have learned here, they want us to apply it, lam, using lam to answer questions. So we are answering questions in negative form using lam. That's what they simple ask us to do here. Now let's look at this one. Adati hazihil kutuba ya binti. Have you counted these books, oh my daughter? So how will you answer? La, lam a'udda. Lam a'udda. The actual verb is adda ya'uddu. So ana a'uddu. But when the lam come, it will not be a'uddu. It will not be a'udda. The last letter will take fatha in sort of dhamma. That's just the only change that will happen. Now he says, asababta zamilaka haza ya Ali. Have you insulted this your friend, oh Ali? Let's look at what Ali say. Ali, if you are answering negative, you are Ali and you are answering in negative context, you say la, lam asubba, or lam asubbahu. I've not insulted him. Okay. Now here, amar al-mudiru al-fusul. Have the principal, the head, passed by the classrooms? So if you are answering, you see la, lam yamurra. Oh, that's correct. La, lam yamurra, or lam yamurra al-mudiru al-fusul. Okay. Now let's go. This is the continuation. We have number 5 here. Asababta al-ma'a allazi kana fil kub. Have you poured the water, or did you pour the water which was in the cup? So if you are answering in negative context, you say what? La, lam asubbal ma'a allazi kana fil kub. Now here, ashamimta ra'ihatan karihatan indama fatahta al-bab. Did you smell a bad smell, a disliked smell, a foul smell? Indama fatahta al-bab. At the time you open the door, or when you open the door, this indama, it is a zorf. Zorf zaman. indicates time. Indama, the man at the time you did it. Okay, hinama, all these ones, indama, hinama. Okay, so they indicate time. So indama fatahta al-bab, when you open or at the time you open the door, do you smell some bad smell? So if you are answering in negative context, you say what? La lam ashumma ra'ihatan karihatan indama fatahtu al-bab. Okay, now exercise number 9. أدخل لا الناحية على الفعل التي أمام كل جملة وأكمل به الجملة. That we should add, we should bring لا الناحية, we should enter it into this following verbs that we are seeing على الأفعال التي أمام كل جملة, that the verbs in front of each sentence, we should try to add لا الناحية to them. So let's try to do it. So these are the verbs here. These are the verbs here. So we are going to add la and na here to them and use it to fill these pieces that you are seeing here. I hope that is clear. Okay, so we have here li mazidan min al-kahwa. Then we have here. So if you are commanding someone not to do these verbs, of course, la and na here, it comes to prohibit la and na here. So if I say don't go, don't sit, don't eat, all this one, that's la and na here in Arabic context. So we are going to add la and na here to these verbs and use it to complete this sentence by means of them. Okay, so when we add la na here to be what? La tasubba. Of course, as I said, when you add the la na here, and even lam, the last letter, the last haraka is just what is changing. The dhamma will tend to fatha. So la tasubba instead of tasubbu here. La tasubba li mazida min al-kahwa. Don't pour extra or addition of the coffee for me. So he's saying it's okay. Now here, tazunnu. So we add la, so it will be la tazunna instead of tazunnu here. It's just as I said in all the cases here, the last dhamma is just going to tend to fatha, and that's it. So let's clear. That's the only changes that will happen. So la tazunna anna al-imtihana sayakunu sahlan. Don't think that the imtihan, the examination, is going to be easy. La tazunna anna al-imtihana sayakunu sahlan. Don't think that the examination is going to be easy. Then here, la tasubba, you tend to fatha. La tasubba akhaka muslim. Don't insult your Muslim brother. Then la ta'udda, you tend to fatha if you add the la. So la ta'udda hazihi riyalat. Don't count these riyals. La tamurra, here you add, you turn to fatha. So la tamurra bayna yadayil musalli. Don't pass in front of the musalli. And musalli bimana allazi yusalli, the one who is praying. How that is clear. When we see bayna yaday here, this is a phrase. They are joined together. They are inseparable. It's used a lot in Arabic. When you hear bayna yaday, it means in front. It's not to be taken literally. Literally, it will mean between. Bayna means between. Then yaday is actually yadayni from yadani. What was have yad? Yadun. Yadun is the hand. So we have yadani, 2 hands. How that is clear? 2 hands. Yadani, 2 hands. But of course, you know this is musanna. So when it is majrur, how that is clear? When it is majrur, bayna yaday, you can see it is mudaf ilay. Mudaf ilay daima yuqrabu majrur. Mudaf ilay is always majrur. Kitabu Muhammadin. Muhammadin is majrur. So here, when that happens, the ani will now be ain yadayn, like this. It will now be yadayn. When it is majrur, it will now be yadayn. The alif will tend to ya. How that is clear. So it will now be yadayni. But you can see it is mudaf to this one also. So this is mudaf and it is mudaf ilay. So see, it's in the middle. This yaday is in the middle. It is mudaf ilay to this one. And it is mudaf to the musalli again. So at the same time, it is mudaf and mudaf ilay. It's mudaf ilay to the bayna. Bayna yaday. Bayna is mudaf. Yaday is mudaf ilay. But it is also mudaf to the musalli. You can see yadayil musalli. So it is mudaf and then the musalli is mudaf ilay. So when you know the last time we said that when mudaf is musanna, the noon have to drop. That is the sign that it is mudaf. When a dual noun is mudaf, the noon will have to drop. So if I want to say the 2 pens of Muhammad, I'll say kalama Muhammadin. I will say kalamani Muhammadin. That's not correct. The noon will have to drop. Oh, that is clear. When a dual noun is mudaf, the noon will drop. So that's how come you now have here dayi al-musalli, which means in between the 2 hands. But literally doesn't mean in between the 2 hands of the one praying. It means in front. We use that phrase collectively in Arabic language, bayna yadayi, to mean in front. So it's not to be taken literally. But literal meaning will mean in between the 2 hands. I hope that is clear. But it is a phrase which means in front. Don't pass in front of someone who is praying. That's what he's saying. Now here, tajurru. So if you add la and na here, you see what? La tajurra. You see. La tajurra saburata min makaniha. Don't drag or don't pull the board from its place. We want to leave it where it is. Don't pull it. That's what the teacher is saying. Now let's continue. Here we have exercise number 10. As you can see, isnadu adda ila dhamair. Hamidun adda. We are going to now look at the conjugation which we have done, alhamdulillah, at the beginning of the lesson. That's why we took our time to look at the conjugation. So we saw a table that had the present tense and then the past tense table there. Hope that is clear. It's only the musanna that we are now going to look. We will look at it in the next lesson, inshallah. You can see the dual. Adda, you add alif to it. Adda means one person, he counted. Hamidun adda. Hamid counted. But if there are 2, hope that is clear. I'll say adda. But that one we'll look at it in the next lesson. It's not to be treated here. So apart from that one, all this one we have seen how it is conjugated in the previous, in the first lesson, in the first part of this lesson. I hope that is clear. Where we took our time to explain all these rules. So, but let's just do it again. A brief recap. Just go over it very fast. Hamidun adda. Aminatu addat. Anta adadata. So as we said the last time, when a clear domir attaches the shadda, it will have to open up. So anta adatta, anti adatti, ana adattu, al awladu addu, al banatu adadna, antum adattum, antunna adattunna, nahnu adadna. In that other. Okay. Now here too, he says, isnadu ya'uddu ila dhamair. So here we are going to, here is you see the first one was adda, here is ya'uddu. So here we are looking at the conjugation of the mudore. This one was the past tense. Here is the present tense. So hamidun ya'uddu, aminatu ta'uddu, anta ta'uddu, al-awladu ya'udduna, al-banatu ya'dudna, antum ta'udduna. I hope that is clear. Okay. Anti ta'uddina, ana a'uddu, antum or antunna ta'dudna, nahnu na'uddu. Then we have exercise number 12 here. Isnadu fi'l al-amr min adda ila dhamair. So we're going to look at the amr for adda. So we are the conjugation of amr, mudore, madi, mudore, and amr. Okay. So adda ya hamidun is the amr. If you are commanding one person, you say udda. Sorry, udda. Now when they are plural, when they are a lot of them commanding them, you say uddu. Okay. Now singular feminine, you say uddi ya aminatu. And when there are several of them, you say ududna. So udda for one male. When there are several males, uddu. One female, uddi. Several females, ududna. And that applies to, similar thing applies to the other mudha'af verbs. Okay. Now we have here exercise number 13. They say ta'ammal isti'mal al-kalimatayn faqat wa abada. We are going to look at the use, how faqat and abadan they are used. I think this one we explained it in the previous lesson. Faqat, we said it is used for past tense. I hope that is clear, past tense. So if I say I've never went there, see what? Ma zahabtu qat. I've never went. But if I'm saying in the future, I will never go, so that's when I'll use abada. Abada is both means never, but faqat is used for the past. In English language, we don't have that. You just say I've never went there, I will never go. whether future or past tense, you are using never. But in Arabic language, there is a differentiation. Faqat is for the past tense. Abadan is used for the present tense, for the future tense. Something to happen in the future. You say, I'll never do this. I'll never go there. I'll never eat that. In the future, so use abada. But when it is past, you use faqat. Okay. So whenever you are seeing faqat, meaning if you look at the sentence, it's going to be the past tense sentence. Okay, the verb that will be there is going to be, or the sentence in general is going to be referring to the past tense. So see here, ma fa'altu hadha qat. I've never done this. So ma fa'altu hadha qat. I've never done this. So past tense, ma fa'altu. Never done. So lam akul. If you just say lam akul, I've not eaten. I didn't eat. That's past tense. So qattu should come, not abada. So this lam, of course, it comes to half. As we said, it is also qalb, half qalbin. It makes the present tense verb past tense. So akul is present tense verb, but because of the lam, it turned it into the past tense. So lam akul, I've not eaten. Ta'aman lazizan bisla hadha, a food that is delicious like this. Qattu, ever. I've never eaten a food that is delicious like this. Lam aturuki salata qattu, I've never left salat. Walan, so see, lan, of course, it means in the future, I'll never. Walan aturukaha abada, and I'll never leave it in the future. So therefore tawkid, therefore emphasis, to emphasize that you never do something. Okay, or you have never done something. Lam asma kalaman misla hadha qat, I've never heard kalam, words. Okay, word that is like this ever. Kayfa taqulu ra'aytani fil Hind, how will you say that you saw me in Hind? Ra'aytani fil Hind, you saw me in Hind, India. Ana ma zahabtu ila al-Hind qattu, I've never went to India. I've never went to India before. So he's telling someone that he has never went to India. So how do you say that you saw me in India? So they are now explaining here. Sheikh is explaining here by saying that qattu khasun bil madi. Qattun is specifically used for madi, past tense. Wa abadan khasun bil mustaqbal, and abada is specifically used for the future. Al mustaqbal bimana istiqbal, for the future. Okay. Now let's look at here. Ta'ammal ma'yali. We should take note of what that which follows. Layyinun. Layyin means soft. Ismu tafdil. Bimana the ism tafdil of it is aliyana. Aliyanu. Aliyanu. This is the ism tafdil for layyin. Aliyanu. Softer. Okay. Haza al-hariru layyinun. This silk is soft. Wazalika aliyanu min hadha. And this and that is much softer than this. Tayyibun, the same way, layyinun and tayyibun, they are on the same pattern. Okay, fa'ilun. So tayyibun. Ismu tafdil, the ism tafdil of tayyibun is atyabu. So tayyibun means good or nice. Atyabu, bimana, nicest, or more nicer. Haza to'amu tayyibun, this food is nice. Wazalika atyabu, and that is much nicer. Okay. Now we are done. We are now looking at the kalimatul jadida here. So these are the new words that we have seen. So let's quickly go through it. Marratun. Marratun means once. Then the plural jamu is marat, several times. Then kefun. Kefun means the palm. You can see it here, the palm of the hand. It's all the time as kefun. Then the jamu, the plural is akufun, several palms. Mazidun. Mazidun, of course, we know is extra or addition of something. Ghafilun, the heedless one. Someone who is heedless is called ghafilun. So dafa. Dafa means to push. Yadfa'u, he's pushing. And it can also mean to pay. Okay, to pay money to someone or something. At dibaj, we say dibaj, it means now min al harir, a type of silk. Dibaj is a specific type of silk. Ra'ihatun. Ra'ihatun means the smell or the odor of something. Kerihun. Kerihun means disliked. Okay, disliked. Something that is foul, something that is disliked. Layyinun, of course, soft. Marida yamradu. Marida, he fell sick. Yamradu, he's falling sick. Nuzhatun, a copy. The plural is nuzahun, several copies. Hunayhatun. Hunayhatun means waqtun qalil, waqtun yasir. Not small, short time is called hunayhatun. And as we have said in the previous lesson, it is ism tasghir. How that is called? Ism tasghir. Okay, from hinwan. How that is called? Then we have balu'a. Balu'atun is the sink. Okay, the sink in the washroom is called balu'a. Tayyibun. Tayyibun means nice. Hazina yahzanu. It means to be sad. Okay. So from here, the author now moves to here to give us a summary of all that we have studied. To give us a brief summary of all that we have studied. So from lesson number 26 to up to 29. From lesson number 26 to 29, 26, 27, 28, 29. This lesson and the previous 3 lessons that we have studied, the author just put everything here in this table as a summary. Hope that is clear. So let's look at what he's saying here. This table here. Let me zoom it. Okay, I hope you can see. So this is all the categories of verbs that we have. Aqsamul fi'l. This is all the categories of verbs that we have. So if you can remember, when we're about to look at the lesson number 26, I give you a particular chart, a particular table. I think this one that you are seeing here, which has the categorization of the verbs. We have fi'l sahih and fi'l mu'tal. So if you look at the fi'l sahih was that which doesn't have harf illa. How that is clear. And we said there were 3: Salim, Mahmuz, and then Muda'af. Salim, Mahmuz, and then Muda'af. Salim, we said it doesn't have, despite not having harf illa, it doesn't have shadda, and it doesn't have hamza also. Then Mahmuz, we said it was that which has hamza. And then Muda'af, as we have seen even in this lesson, that which has shadda, of there's repetition. So that is basically what the 3 categories of Sahih verbs that we look. So that is what you are seeing here. Okay, Salim, Mahmuz, and then Muda'af. These 3 categories here. Salim, Mahmuz, and then Muda'af. So Salim, Mahmuz, and then Muda'af. So these are the 3 that he has put here. Salim Kataba is an example. That which doesn't have harf illa, and then it doesn't have hamza, and it doesn't have shadda. Okay, here. Okay, and so that's what you are saying. Example is kataba, then that is madi. Then when it is mudari, and then it is marfu yaktubu. Then when it is mansub, you see lan yaktuba. Then when it is majzum, you see lam yaktub. Then when it is amr uktub. All this one we have seen it. Mahmuz, as we said, it was that which has hamza as one of its root letters. An example, as you can see, is akala, sa'ala, and then kara'a. So akala, when the hamza is first letter, it takes the far position. Then sa'ala, when the hamza takes the second, it takes the second position. That's the ain position. Then kara'a, when the hamza takes the last position, that's the lam position. And so as you can see it. And so that is just basically the Mahmuz verbs. They are verbs that have hamza as one of its root letters. And then we look at the mudore, the one when it is marfu. Okay, yaqulu, yas'alu, yakra'u. And then also when it is mansub, we have seen that one. Lan yaqula, lan yas'ala, lan yakra'a. Then when it is majzum also, we have seen it. Lam yaqul, lam yas'al, lam yakra. It's not anything difficult. We have seen all this one, but we are just doing a summary of all those verbs. Then amr, from lesson number 26 to this particular lesson, the last 4 lessons, okay, that we have just seen. These are the summarization of everything. Then amr, the amr, as we have seen, is is'al and ikra. It comes on this pattern, but there are some irregular verbs that it doesn't follow the normal pattern. And so these are the examples that you are seeing here. Okay, example, we have there about 5 of them. Akala, akhaza, amara, sa'ala, and then ra'a. Of this ra'a. Akala, akhaza, amara, and then ra'a. Okay, so these ones, they don't actually follow their pattern. This pattern. they come on that pattern. Kul, okay, mur, khuz. So those ones, they are an exception. But the actual pattern of the amr is this way. Is al-iqra, or that is clear. Okay. Now we have mudha'af verbs. That's what we have just learned in this particular lesson. So there's no need to talk much about it again. Okay. And as you can see, we have mudha'af as-sulasi and the mudha'af al-ruba'i. But here we look at mudha'af as-sulasi. And so that was our main focus. An example is adda shamma jadda. When it is mudhari marfu, you're going to see ya'uddu, yashammu, okay, and then yajidu. Then when it is mansub, mudhari mansub, you are going to see lan ya'udda, lan yashamma, lan yajida. The last letter is going to take fatha. It's going to take fatha, of course. Then when it is majzum, lam ya'udda. We have seen the majzum. When it is majzum, the last letter is going to take fatha. It's dhamma. The dhamma will simply tend to fatha. So lam ya'udda. All that applies to all the other verbs. Then the amr is udda, shamma, jadda. It comes on that pattern there. That's it. The amr is formed from the mudhari. Okay, remove the first letter. The last letter you give a sukun, and when you give a sukun, there's which way is sakinain, and so you turn the last letter to fatha, and so that will be udda. Obviously, and that applies to the other ones. Then from there, that's the first three divisions that we have. The salim that you have seen here, salim verbs, followed by mahmuz verbs, then followed by mudha'af verbs, and that's the summary for them. Now let's look at the last one, the last three. The last three, it is here, what you are seeing here. I hope that is clear. So look at this table here. You see these last three mu'tallu verbs that have huruf al-illa. Okay, so we have misal, ajwaf, and then naqis. Misal simply means the harf al-illa is in the first position. It is the fa position on the pattern of fa'ala is the first letter. Then when you have ajwaf, the harf al-illa is the second position. Okay, it takes the ain position. Example, comma, you can see it's in the middle. That's the second position. Then naqis, there's a harf al-illa in the verb, but it is at the end. It is the last letter. Hope that is clear. It takes the lam position. And so that's the three categories of the mu'tallu verbs. And so that's what we are seeing here. So you can see that's what the author put here. He says that mu'tallu al-fa, and that is misal, then ajwaf, and then naqis. So misal, the harf al-illa is the first position, is the first letter. Then ajwaf, the harf al-illa is in the middle. Then naqis, the harf al-illa is at the end. And that's what you can see. So the example of misal, you see waqafa. Then when it is ajwaf, and then it takes the same conjugation as the other edition. Yeah, okay. The mudhari is yakifu. And when it is mansub, it could be what? Lan yakifa, from dhamma to fatha. Then when the lam comes, when it is majzum, lam yaqif. Very simple. Then the amr is kif. Okay. Then ajwaf verbs, the harf al-illa is in the middle. So example is qala, ba'a, nama, and all this one we have seen them. When it is marfu, mudhari marfu, yaqulu, yabi'u, yanamu, in that other. And when it is mansub, lan yaqula, it will simply take fatha instead of dhamma. Lan yaqula, lan yabi'a, lan yanama. And when it is majzum, of course, if you give here school, majzum means the lam here coming will make it have school. So when you give school, there will be iltiqa sakina. If you give school, example here, if here is lam, then you give the lam school. You see, there's now going to be iltiqa sakina because this wa is also having school. So you drop the waw, and so it will be lam yakul. So that's what you are seeing here. Lam yakul, and that applies to all. Lam yabi, lam yanam. Then the amr is kul bi nam in the other. Then mu'tallu, not al-lam. The harf al-illa is the lam, the last letter, and it takes the lam position, and we call it naqis. Naqis, then that's what you see. Masha, nasiya, naha, da'a. The last letter is harf al-illa. We call it af'alun naqis. Oh, that is clear. When it is mudhari, it is yamshi. Okay, yansa, yanha, yadu'u, in that other. And we have looked at all these ones. The marfu, and then the mansub, and then majzum, and then the amr. Okay. Lam yamshiya. Lam yamshi. Imshi. When it is majzoom here, let's take a look at the actual mudari verb. If you add lam here, you can see this one is having school, so you can't put another school on it. It's already having school. So these verbs, they are mudari, they are ending with school. The last letter is half a illa with school on it. So you can't put another school on it. So you have to remove it. There's going to be hasf. You will delete it, you remove it. And so that's how you see them. Lam yanha. The half a illa will drop. Lam yad'u. You see the half a illa will drop. Lam yamshi. The half a illa will drop. In the other, in the amr is imshi, insa, inha, or in uduhu. Now we come to the last two. So that is it. That's the breakup, the simple breakup for the misal, ajwaf, and the naqis. Now we have this last two, which we have not talked about. We have not talked about it, but the author just put it to complete the table. The table is a summarization of all the verbs that we have, the categorization of verbs that we have. So this last two, he just added to make the table complete, but actually we haven't learned them. Okay, we have al-lafif. Al-lafif is when there is more than one harf al-illa. So they could be two. Al-lafif, al-makrun. Then al-lafif, al-mafruq. Al-makrun, bimana, the huruf al-illa. There are two and they are following one another. So wa, you can see wa is a harf al-illa. And then this alif maksura is also a harf al-illa. And they are following one another. So we call it, it's not just only al-lafif simply means it has more than one harf al-illa. But when they are following one another, it is specifically called al-makrun. I hope that is clear. Now, al-lafif, al-mafruq. Of course, when you hear mafruq, what comes to your meaning? Oh, that's clear. Separated. So, al-lafif, al-mafruq, it has more than one harf al-illa, but they are not following one another. Example is waka. You can see this. There's a wa here, which is a harf al-illa. There is a alif maksura here, which is also a harf al-illa. But they are not following one another. In between them, you can see there is a qaf, which is separating them. So they are mafruq. They are separated. So that's the difference between them. I hope that is clear. Okay. So that's how come we have these two. So here we just talk about it like that in brief. So waka is an example of mafruq, makrun, and then mafruq example is waka. And so the amr is the mudari is also simple. Kawa yakwi, then lan yakwiya when it is mansub. Then when it is majzum, lan yakwi. Of course, look at the mudari here. The harf al-illa will drop when you add lam because it's already having school. You can't give it school again, and that's the same thing that happens here. Lam yaqi. Hope that is clear. Okay. So kawa to iron, waqa to protect. Hope that is clear. So lam yaqi, he didn't protect. So the amr is going to be here. The amr is going to be ikwi. If you take this one, you can form the amr, which is going to be ikwi. Okay, but here, if you try to form the amr, see something. See here, how do you form the amr? First, you try to. This is the mudari. So you take off the first letter. Here is having school. It's already having school, so you can't give it school again. What you do is that you remove it. As if you remove it. Then you see it is starting with a school, so you can't pronounce it. You introduce hamza to wasl. So it is going to be and give it kesra. So it will be what? Ikwi, and that's what we are seeing here. But here, if you try to do the same thing, come here. The amr, the mudari is yaki. Okay, yaki, but anta taki. So if it has mean it is taki, and then you remove the first star. Here is already have a school. You can't give a school again. What you do, you remove it. I hope that is clear. So what will be left? It will be left with only the qaf, and that will be key. So that's the amr. The amr is key. So when you see an amr which is just one letter, mainly it is from these verbs, lafif al-mafruq. So you see key. Okay, key. That's just the amr. Key, protect. So from it we have ku. Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu ku anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Ku anfusakum. Protect yourselves, your families from the hellfire. Okay. So this is the end of this summarization of the verbs. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, we'll end this lesson here. Please try to go over it and revise it such that you will understand it very well and then we will practice it more and more so that it will stick more. Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallahu li wa lakum fi Quran al-Hakim. Wa nafani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikr al-hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.